Hello everyone, I am Kiran Joshi. Hope you all are safe and sound. This is the second video of Class 6 History chapter New Questions and Ideas. In the first video, we learnt that during the later Vedic age, many thinkers felt the need to understand the purpose and true meaning of life. We learnt about the Buddha, Upanishadic thinkers, and Panini. Through the present video, we'll try to learn about Mahavira and Jainism. We'll also learn about the Sangha, monasteries, and the system of ashramas. So, let's begin with Jainism. Vardhaman Mahavir, the founder of Jainism, was the last and 24th Tirthankara of the Jainas. Tirthankara is also called Jina. Children, Jina or Tirthankara means a person who has conquered the cycle of death and rebirth on their own and has made a path or a passage for others to follow. Vardhaman Mahavir was born about 2500 years ago near Vaishali in Bihar. He was a Kshatriya prince. His father Siddhanta was a chieftain of the Lichavi Gana. Children, Lichavi was a part of Vajji Sangha. Trishala was his wife. As you have learnt that Buddha left his home in search of truth, in the same way, Vardhamana also left his home and family at the age of 30 and went to live in a forest. He spent 12 years in prayers and led a hard and lonely life, after which he attained enlightenment and came to be known as Jina or Mahavira, which means the great victor who had conquered the self. Mahavira taught his followers some simple things to believe in and to practice. For example, he said that those men and women who wanted to know the truth, they must leave their home. Another thing that he emphasized on was to follow ahimsa or absolute non-violence. In simple words, it means not to hurt or kill any living being, be it a human, animal, insect, bird, or plant. According to Mahavira, all living creatures had a great desire to live, and life is very dear to everyone. The language which Mahavira and his followers used to preach the people was the language of the common people, that is, Prakrit. Therefore, most people could understand his teachings. Children, the Prakrit language had various forms or variations that were spoken in different parts of the country during that time. These different forms of the Prakrit language were called by the names of that region in which they were used. For example, in Magad, the Prakrit language was known as Magadhi. Now, those who followed Mahavira were called Jains. They had to follow simplicity in life and had to beg for food. Another important rule for them was that they had to follow absolute honesty. They were forbidden to steal. That means they were asked not to be tempted by anything and check themselves from stealing. One more thing that was essential for the followers of Mahavira was that they had to observe celibacy. Celibacy means they had to remain unmarried. Those men who followed Mahavira were supposed to surrender everything. That means they had to give up even their clothes. Now, as you can understand, children, that these rules were quite hard and strict. These rules made Jainism a quite difficult faith to be followed by people. Even then, a large number of people followed him. They left their homes and became monks and nuns so that they could learn the new way of life taught by Mahavira and then further teach to others. However, there were many other people who did not leave their homes, but they gave up. But they gave their support to these monks and nuns and provided them with food. Mostly traders were the main supporters. However, farmers found it quite difficult to follow the rules of Jainism. Reason was simple that in Jainism, absolute non-violence is very essential, but farmers had to kill insects in order to protect their crops. In the course of time, Jainism spread largely in North India and also in Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka. For hundreds of years, the teachings of Mahavira and his followers were passed on vocally. Then, around 1500 years ago at Vallabhi in Gujarat, these teachings were written down in the form in which they are available now. Now, let's learn about an important feature of both Jainism and Buddhism, and that is the Sangha. Dear children, both the Sangha and the Buddha and Mahavira realized that if someone wanted to achieve true knowledge, they had to leave their homes. These monks and nuns stayed together in an association called the Sangha. Both in Buddhism and in Jainism, there were some basic rules to be followed by the Sangha. A Buddhist text, Vinaya contains the rules made for Buddhist Sangha. For example, there were separate branches for men and women. Another rule was about who could join the Sangha. So, all men could join the Sangha, but in case of children, they had to take permission of their parents. Slaves had to take permission of their masters. Those people who worked for the king had to take king's permission. Those people who had taken loan from someone had to take permission of their creditors. Creditors means those people who give loans. Then women had to take permission of their husbands. After joining the Sangha, men and women had to lead a life of simplicity and hardship. The maximum time of the day was used for meditation. They had fixed hours to go to cities or villages to beg for food. Children, in Prakrit, the word beggar is called bhikshu or bhikshuni. Therefore, these people were also known as bhikshus or bhikshunis. These bhikshus or bhikshunis traveled around to teach other people. They also helped one another. If there were quarrels within the Sangha, they were settled or resolved by holding the meetings. Different people from the society, for example, Brahmins, Kshatriyas, merchants, laborers, barbers, courtesans, slaves, etc., joined the Sangha. Many people among them wrote down the teachings of the Buddha. They even described about their life in the Sangha in beautifully composed poems. These Buddhist and Jaina monks traveled around the country from one place to another, spreading the teachings of Buddha and Mahavira. They traveled throughout the year, but during the rainy season, traveling was quite difficult. So, during those days, these monks stayed either in the natural caves found in the hilly region or lived in the temporary shelters which their supporters built for them in gardens. Later, the need for more permanent shelters for these monks and nuns was felt, and therefore, their supporters and followers built monasteries for them. These monasteries were called viharas. Initially, these viharas were constructed using wood, and later they were made of bricks. In some places, especially in western India, caves were hollowed out in the hills to make monasteries. Different people gave their support in different ways. For example, rich merchants or landowners or the king donated the land to build the vihara. The common people of that area brought gifts of food, clothes, and medicines for these monks and nuns, and these monks and nuns in return taught the local people. Buddhism spread not only in different parts of the subcontinent but in other countries also. Dear children, this was about the time when Brahmins developed the system of ashramas. Here, the word ashram means a stage of life. They recognized four stages of life and named them as Brahmacharya ashram, Grihastha ashram, Vanaprastha ashram, and Sannyas ashram. The Brahmacharya ashram means the early years of life. In this stage of life, men from Brahmin, Kshatriya, and Vaishya Varnas were supposed to lead very simple life and devote their time to study the Vedas. The second phase of life was called Grihast Ashram. In this, they had to marry and live in family. The third stage was named as Vanaprasthashram, in which they had to live in forest and meditate. And the last stage of life was Sannyasashram, in which they had to give up everything and become sannyasis. Usually, women were not allowed to study the Vedas and they were supposed to follow the ashrams which their husbands had chosen for them. So, children, that's all for this chapter. Now, try to answer these questions to check your understanding. So, the first question is write a short note on Mahavira's teachings. Second question, what does the Vinay Pitaka tell about Sangha? Third question, write a short note on Viharas. Fourth and last question, what do you know about the system of ashramas developed by Brahmins? Hope you found this video helpful, and if you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you.